I could do a screen record on
No,
this side.
we're
You just
recording
turned the
now.
recording on. Perfect.
Sweet.
Perfect. So good morning, everybody. We have a super sweet little crowd, and I don't know if everybody knows each other, so I would like to just take a minute because there's only a few of us. I think it would be nice to sometimes be able to put a face behind the name. So I'm Pam, and this is my gorgeous and smart, incredible nephew, who is commercial real estate extraordinaire, Frankie Valley.
Hello, everybody.
And then Lacey, you moved to the Big Island when?
A littler island, Oahu. I moved here a couple of years ago. Cody thought I was crazy and he wanted me to move back to Vegas so I could work with everybody in person. And I was like, why would I do that? And then COVID happened. And I was like, why would I do that? So here I am, and nobody even knows. Yeah.
Exactly. It's amazing. We only know when the Facebook timing thing messes up a little bit for events. That's the
and
only.
always if you guys ever see that, let me know. But oh my gosh, it's such a hassle. Agree.
No problem. And then Steve Matthews.
Yes. Started real estate in 1978, long before Frankie was born. But yeah, it was broker's license, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, Texas, Nevada. Been here a while.
And
Vegas
you have a beautiful life.
since 92. And Johnny's a wonderful guy. Yeah. Yeah. We're loving life.
And then I see beautiful Vicky in the next square.
Hello, I was drug up in real estate since 1983, and I moved to Vegas 20 years ago, and here I am.
Love it.
One of my favorite people ever, biggest heart in the world, that woman. And she's very active on the WhatsApp string. I don't know if you guys ever see Vicky chiming in on things. She is a huge resource for information, and she's always there to help people. I see Matt. Will you mute us? You gotta unmute.
Mute. All right, there we go. It wasn't clicking. My clicker wasn't working. I'm Matt Haw. I've been licensed since 05. I did take a break from 11 until pretty much 2018. So I'm kind of a new agent, but I love EXP. It's been great.
Now we're not muted. There we go.
Awesome. And then Dave Reichart. Are you with us, Dave? Are you with us just on audio? There he is. Peace.
Oh, they're together. That's funny.
Got it. Okay. How about Serena? Can you tell us about yourself, Serena?
Hey guys, I just got my mouth numb, so I look like a crazy person. I'm gonna keep my mask on a little bit. But just got licensed, so new to this whole realm of things, trying to take it in, learn as much as I can. Excited for the new journey, and I can't wait to see what's in store.
Good. Well, I really, really hope today is helpful for you. So we're going to
I'm sure it will be.
This new career on the right foot.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely. And then Tina Ruggiero, my new girl. Where are you, Tina?
I knew
Hi,
I was
girl.
going to be next up. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi guys, I'm Tina Ruggiero, brand new, waiting on my license, working with the best team, and just ready to business plan and get ready to jump in.
Awesome. So Tina hails from the resort industry, and she has an incredible background. She's got these relational skills like crazy. She's totally passionate, incredible attitude. She's gonna kill it. And then one of my favorite people ever, Ursula.
Good morning. Hey guys. I got my license at the very end of 2018, so fairly new. And then I joined EXP July 2019. So very excited for today and look forward to seeing everyone tonight.
Awesome. Thank you. And super quick about me, if any of you guys don't know my background, I started in the real estate industry when I was 17 years old. I went straight from high school as a receptionist to a title company. And for some reason, I just loved the business. It was fascinating to me learning about title insurance and legal descriptions and escrow problems. And it was back in the day before computers, obviously. So we used to literally type escrow instructions, and real estate agents would run in and they would drop off contracts that were written on like triplicate paper, right? So there was the white copy, the pink copy, and the yellow copy. It was just so much fun. And then I went from there into lending. So I did some hard money lending, and I was managed about $36 million in private investor funds. And we helped builders in Las Vegas build subdivisions like Stand Park Construction and Lewis Homes and Jimmy Rhodes and Champion Homes and all these other builders. So I really have gotten to see Las Vegas grow up. And then as it turned out, the hard money lender that I worked for 7 years, he decided that I could not take a 2-week vacation for my honeymoon because he gave me 2 days off a year. And when I told him, no, I'm taking a 2-week vacation for my honeymoon, he came and he danced at my wedding. He told me I was not taking 2 weeks off. And so the next day I went in and I packed my desk. I've been an independent real estate agent ever since. So I did recently owned a boutique firm for 15 years with a business partner, Kevin Buckley, who I still love and adore to this day. He's one of the best commercial agents in Las Vegas. For me, I just knew that the era of an independent boutique firm was over. And so I was searching for a better way to do real estate and a better way to help my agents be more effective and successful in today's day and age. And when I found EXP and I found the collaboration and I found the benefits of it, I just knew it was the place for me to be, and I've never looked back. So
Pam,
with
can you
that,
explain for like 30 seconds why you say the era of a boutique agency is over?
yeah, I will tell you exactly. So it's with technology, it got very, very cost prohibitive to be a small firm. So for me to give my agents KV Core, for instance, the CRM program that we're given with EXP, it would literally cost anywhere between $500 and $700 an agent, because I'm not buying them in bulk at 35,000 at a time, right? So then I also have to buy a transaction management system. I have to buy a program that's going to folio all of the emails and the correspondence that I can then copy and put into a contract. I'm then paying for storing all of those files. And the problem is that it's bulky and it's expensive and it's all technology, but none of those parts and pieces actually speak to one another. And we haven't even talked about websites and all this other stuff, right? So when I researched technology firms and somebody who just may have decided that there was a better way to do real estate, and I realized that, you know, when you work in mass like that and you could purchase that type of technology, receive that type of technology for $85, and the fact that it all overlays one another. So EXP builds your website, and then they give you access to KV Core. The two of them speak to one another. Somebody's searching on your website, it goes into your KV Core. It's now data mining them, right? With SkySlope is totally integrated with DigiSign. So everything happens right within there. So it was a way for me to actually give my agents the technology that they need and so much more, so much more. I mean, we've been able to really enhance the business just because of what EXP is. The referral network, because we're a global company, has been huge for us. So we've totally capitalized on that. And then EXP Commercial, just for any of you that don't know, EXP Holdings is the mother parent company. Underneath EXP Holdings is EXP Realty. EXP Commercial is live and open in several states right now. It's going to be open in Nevada at the end of the year. And what EXP Commercial is going to do is going to level the playing field for commercial real estate. So for anybody who has ever dealt in commercial real estate, you know, like as an independent broker, it would cost me anywhere between $7,000 to $20,000 a month to be able to use platforms like CoStar and LoopNet and Build Out and all these other platforms that it takes to actually be a relevant commercial agent. Because it's not like the MLS. It's not like you've got 15,000 agents that all pour into one board and one system, right? The commercial world is up for grabs. It's the wild, wild west, right? There's so many different platforms. So what EXP Commercial is going to do is the same thing for commercial agents. It's going to provide all those relevant platforms for $500 a month. So it is going to absolutely 100% level the playing field for commercial real estate in Las Vegas. I'm super excited about it. And don't,
Whoop, whoop.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
listen, and go after those commercial agents, because there's an opportunity in Las Vegas to slay that market. You go sponsor them, you will get revenue share for sponsoring commercial agents, just like into EXP commercial, just like you do EXP Realty. There's no difference, right? Do you have anything to add to that quickly?
Just that I'm going to be the first EXP commercial agent in Nevada
Hello.
as soon as it's live. So I'm very excited.
I'm losing my baby. He's flying, but he's going to stay with me at the same time.
Yeah.
So guys, without further ado, I do want to get into, and thank you for allowing me that 15 minutes of introduction, but I do want to get into what the heart of today is, and that's about helping you build a business plan for 2021 that's going to make you successful and keep you on track, right? I will say I'm finding Zoom to be a little bit easier as things go on, but you know, I've told this to Lacey before and she thinks it's the funniest thing on the planet, but for me, Zoom is literally like kissing a mannequin. Like, I hate Zoom. I look out at your faces and stuff like that, and I can't feel you. I can't touch you. I don't know your energy. I don't know anything that's going on. So just bear with me and bear in mind that I'm going to do my best over the next couple hours to, I love you, Dave. I'm going to do my absolute best over the next couple hours to make sure you get the information that you need. And I'm always here for you guys. You know, if you ever need me, one thing about the collaboration of Synergy community is that we all come from a place of abundance. So, you know, I'm not the end all know all about everything. And, you know, neither are some of the other people that are in your circle. But if you do need any support or anything, please reach out to me. Housekeeping matters. We're going to take you through some relevant videos and worksheets over the next couple hours. There are times when we definitely want your input, and we are a small enough, succinct group right now where when we ask for the input, we really want you to chime in. And I want this time to be meaningful. So, you know, if we go through these worksheets, they're very analytical, some of them. If you get stuck, we're not moving on until everybody is where they're supposed to be. So if you need help, don't feel worried or anything. Unmute yourself, speak out, everybody will stop so that we're all on the same page, okay?
Are you going to be sending us worksheets and?
They are in the WhatsApp string. Good job.
Nice. Vicky.
They're in the WhatsApp string. You could go grab them. And you can, most of them are PDF fillable if you want to just fill them out right on your computer as we go along, okay? And so thank you for reminding about that. That's where the worksheets are. And so there's no need for us to overcomplicate this process. So like I said, I'm not the end all know all of everything, but I do pride myself in surrounding myself with people who are really great at what they do, right? So I've got a lot of great mentors out there, and I got to tell you, there's a guy, Donald Miller with Business Made Simple, who he just really impacted the way I operate my career and my life. And I love what he has to offer. And we're going to bring a little bit of him to the stage today. We're also going to be bringing a little Breakthrough Broker. I don't know if any of you utilize anything from Breakthrough Broker, but it is a great platform for realtors. So we're going to be using one of their worksheets as well. So what we're going to try to do is keep it simple, but we also need you guys to commit to stretch yourself. You know, it's time for real estate agents. You know, you're getting into an entrepreneurial position, right? This profession is dependent on you every single day, waking up and determining what you're going to do for that day. So it's time to take responsibility for your life versus just leaving it up to fate. A lot of people leave life up to fate, and I'm going to be honest with you, fate is just a horrible writer. Fate does not write a good story. So it's time to determine the direction you want to take your life in, and that's what business planning is. You know, and we all have goals and we have dreams and ambitions, and it's not all geared around the business, but let's be honest, you know, you go to work, you make some money, and that sure does make life easier sometimes, right? So if your dreams and ambitions are to be able to send your kids to college, take a couple vacations, go out to dinner when you want to, COVID aside, just talking in general here, being successful at work sure does make life a lot easier in those areas as well. So a lot of it's going to start there. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about life and planning in general. We're going to lay some foundations of the why. And I'm going to share a little video with you in order to do that. And then we're going to get into the deep, deep analytics of how to do that. And that is not my forte. That's going to be a lot of this guy. If Cody were here, we'd have him doing that as well. So we're going to start with Donald Miller. And I'm going to share with you one of his video modules from a workshop that he's created that's called Be Your Own Hero. And Hero on a Mission, actually, within that workshop, he talks about being his own hero. So that workshop was born out of his Jerry Maguire moment, right? Has everybody seen the movie, the Jerry Maguire moment, right? Everybody, what do you think the Jerry Maguire moment is when he's screaming to Cuba Gooding, like, show me the money, right? That's not the Jerry Maguire moment. So the Jerry Maguire moment is the day that he woke up in crisis of conscience and he decided that his life was boring, that he wasn't doing what he wanted to do. He wasn't in authenticity. He wasn't in alignment with his business. And he decided that he was going to go out and he was going to write his own story, right? So Donald Miller kind of had his Jerry Maguire moment, if you will, one day, and he realized my life is boring. Maybe I'm boring. And from that, he built a life plan and he built goals and steps and actions to take that he got up every day and did, even if it was uncomfortable sometimes, because he decided to write his own story and to be the hero in his own story. And I mean, like, really think about that. So you have a life story. I mean, if you were shopping for a book and you wanted to read about somebody's life story, would you buy your book? Would you want to buy your story? Just something to ponder. You know what I mean? Maybe you have a killer life. Maybe you're lazy and you get to live in Maui or Hawaii or Oahu. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe you would buy your book, but you know, maybe there's something that you could do better, bigger, or more ambitious to be your own hero in your own story. So I'm going to share this module with you. It's going to lay the foundation for the next part of the workshop, which is where we're going to dive deep into analytics. Okay. So this is just going to be 10 minutes. And hopefully within the next couple hours, I want you guys to just kind of like open your hearts, open your eyes, open your mind as to what you need to focus on in the next year to create some deep sense of meaning in your life, some purpose, and create an enormous amount of wealth and growth and happiness, right? So bear with me because now I have to screen share and it's all this technology and Zoom stuff, which I'm getting better at, but you know, just not great. So there's that. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Need to know to grow a business.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to Hero on a Mission, Business Made Simple's course that will guide you through the creation of a life plan and also teach you to use the Business Made Simple daily planner. The way this life plan and day planner came about is kind of a funny story. Years ago, I wrote a book that ended up on the New York Times bestsellers list for 40 weeks or something like that. And whenever you have a book that thankfully sells that many copies, inevitably directors and screenwriters come to you and they want to make a movie out of it. Well, the book was actually a memoir. It was a movie. It was a book about my life. And so essentially they wanted to make a movie about my life, or so I thought. So they flew out to my home. We stayed together for a few days, kind of went through the plot sequences of how we turned this book into a movie. And I kept noticing they were making things up. They were adding things to my life story that didn't happen, which I now know is just a part of movie making. But at the time, I kind of thought, guys, you know, we're adding a lot of drama here that didn't really take place. You know, what if we just stick to what really happened in my life? And one of the directors, maybe in a rare moment of being candid, said, well, your real life is too boring. try not to take that too personally. But, you know, I realized he was right. I mean, in a story's got to be exciting. There's got to be drama. There's got to be some kind of ambition. The hero has to want something. And he began to teach me about story. This was Steve Taylor, who's now a very close friend of mine. He taught me about story, and I went off to took a bunch of classes about story and read every book about story. I got fascinated by it. And literally, I was able to understand how story worked and then make a movie about my fake life now, involving making my life better, right? I mean, literally just using all these techniques to make my life on screen a little more interesting. And I began to wonder, what if you actually did these things in real life? You know, in a movie, the hero has to want something, right? And so what if I define something that I really want? And in a movie, the hero has to take action. They can't sit around all day. They've got to actually move and bring something into the world. So what if I began to move and bring things into the world? The hero has to overcome conflict. I mean, when a challenge comes up in the hero's life, they can't be overcome by it or overwhelmed by it. They have to understand this is just part of the story. Everybody has to deal with conflict. They have to engage the conflict head on. So what if I began to not run from conflict, but not really try to start conflict, but certainly engage it whenever conflict comes and not bury my head in the sand? The hero has to head toward a climactic scene in the movie, something that resolves the conflict, some scene in which all the trouble and conflict they've gone through resolves and they've made it and transformed, like climbing a mountain. You know, all that conflict, you have to get to the top of the mountain or the movie isn't very good and the story isn't very good. I realized something, this was probably 15 years ago, and I realized something really big for me, and it's what caused me to create this life plan and this day planner. And the thing that I realized was that I was trusting much of my life to fate. I was hoping for a break, or I was hoping to meet somebody, or I was hoping, you know, somebody would offer me a job, or I was hoping, you know, whatever. Fate, instead of actually taking control of my life and deciding what it is that I want and deciding to engage the conflict and foreshadowing in my life a climactic scene that I could head toward. What I've realized since then is that fate is actually a terrible writer. That if you are trusting your life to fate, it's probably not going to go well. I mean, the chances of trusting your life to fate and have it going well would be the chances of sitting around in the kitchen and having dinner made for you by a tornado. It's not going to happen. And most of us, I would say, trust fate. Or if we don't trust fate, we trust the commercial voices that say, if you buy this product, you'll be okay. Or if you go to college and get a degree, then you never have to worry about making money. Or, you know, if you just get married, things are going to be fine. All of that is handing our agency that's inside of us to other institutions, and we trust those institutions. And at the end of the day, you know, maybe we're benefited some, but they're benefited a lot more than we are. And I began to understand the importance of actually saying, this is my life. I'm going to take responsibility for my life, and I'm going to dictate how this life goes to a great degree. I began to ask the question, what if I structured my life like a movie? And that was the genesis of the life plan that you're about to encounter. I asked myself, what if I became a character in an interesting story? What if I became a hero on a mission? And I started doing really fun things. One of the first things I did when I had this revelation, because I didn't know exactly what it meant, I just kind of reached for the nearest thing that I could dive into. I rode my bicycle across America, found some people who were doing it to raise money for a cause. And I thought, that's a great story. And so I got on my bicycle and rode from Los Angeles to Delaware. It took about 7 weeks. It was very hard. But at the end of that story, I mean, when we put our bikes into the Atlantic Ocean, it's one of the greatest days of my life. It was a climactic scene that I'd foreshadowed months before. Someday I'm going to arrive at the Atlantic Ocean having ridden my bike all the way across. And all those hard scenes, running out of water in Joshua Tree National Park, having to do 120 miles on a 110-degree day. You know, those scenes were no fun when they happened. But when you get to the climactic scene, they made the climactic scene better because they were so hard. I started writing more books, and they're very hard to write. They take a year or more, and you just gotta kind of sit and wrestle with your own, doubts as you do these things. And was able to write a couple more New York Times bestsellers. And I finally, at the age of 42, settled down and got married. I did the hard work of figuring out my own issues so I could be compatible with another healthy human being. And it was hard work. I started a business. That was a big risk. Didn't want to trust fate. I started a business, and that business has grown into a really successful little company. And you're watching one of our products right now. All of that happened because I decided to write a better story of my life. I decided to create a series of climactic scenes that I could live into. I used to think that life was something that happened to me, but now I think life is something that, to a large degree, I actually get to create, and you get to create yours too. You are mostly in control of your experience. And I emphasize the word mostly because you can't control all of it. You can control some of it. But I think most people don't fully understand or grapple with the idea that they are much, much more in control than they ever thought they were. Psychologists would call this dichotomy internal versus external locus of control. An internal locus of control means that I believe I am in large part in control of my fate. External locus of control means other factors are in control of my fate. My job, corporations that try to sell me things, all sorts of other factors. I lend my agency, if you will, I lend my power to them, and I'm at their mercy. And psychologists have discovered that if you have an external locus of control, if other people are majority in control of your fate, you have higher levels of depression, higher levels of anxiety. You actually make less money. You have lower wages. You're less happy in your relationships, and the people who are in relationships with you are probably less happy with you. It doesn't work as well. And so if there's one huge thing, one huge piece of value that you get from this course, I love the life plan. I love the daily planner, daily pages. They've changed my life. But that's not the thing that's changed my life the most. The thing that has changed my life the most is this big paradigm shift that you get to co-write your story with fate. Not that fate gets to write the whole thing. Fate, of course, grabs the pen every once in a while. But you can recover from that and co-write a story that is really, really beautiful. You can co-write a story with fate that's really meaningful. When I lived in Portland, Oregon.
Awesome. So my big takeaways from that, and the reason why I wanted to share that with you guys and to actually use that as the foundation for us building your business plan, is because your business is just 1/4 of you, right? And for you to get up every morning, put your feet on the ground and decide to make those cold calls, decide to go to that home inspection, decide to follow up on that escrow, decide to go the extra mile for your clients, there's got to be a why behind it for you, right? There's something bigger than just dollars or business. You have to be really in alignment with your story and what it is you want to create. And I love when he said, first of all, you have to want something, right? You've got to want something. So you could say you want a business plan and you want to earn $200,000 this year, for sake of argument. But why? What's the why behind the dollar amount, right? So when you can get attached to the why, it's because, my kid's getting married and I want to see his grandkids and I want to spoil them and I want to be around when they're here and I want to be able to take them on vacations. And, maybe that's my why. I don't know what your why is. But you have to want something. You have to have an attachment to it. And then you have to move. You have to do something, right? I love this analogy. So you have a real estate license. Now what? Are you going to leave that up to fate or are you going to take control of it? That would be leaving it up to fate would be akin to getting a driver's license and then expecting the car to drive itself. No, it doesn't happen that way. Okay. You got to get in the car. You got to turn it on. You got to put gas in it. You got to make sure the tires actually have air. You've got to keep it in good maintenance. You need roads to drive it on. Sometimes you need maps, you need GPS to know where you're going, how to get from point A to point B. Your business plan is absolutely no different. You got the real estate license. Now we're going to take control and we're going to build the road for you to be successful. So sometimes we're going to engage in conflict. Is there anybody in this room that has done a real estate transaction, has not engaged conflict? Raise of hands, please. Steve, I think you're fibbing. There's always going to be obstacles, right? Stay the course. Does anybody else, go ahead and unmute yourself. Is there anybody who had like an aha moment, or there's something that you want to share, or maybe you just want to share your why with us? It's a super safe room to do that. I feel like I hear an ultrasound. Frankie, what's your why?
Oh, that is a good question. Well, for me, it comes down to just my family. I always have had big goals for myself, but it takes it into a little bit more clarity, and the vision's a lot clearer when it's about your family. I have 2 sisters that I care about, my grandma, my Aunt Pam. I want to make you proud, make you money. Yeah, so just overall wealth and family. I want to spoil my little girls.
Yeah,
too,
his
so.
why has 2 names, and it's Madison and Bella. That's his why. So thank you guys for indulging us while we lay the foundation, because it's really super important. Now, has everybody had a chance to download the forms that were in the WhatsApp? Because we are going to go straight into the good stuff. This is where the magic happens, right? We are going to reverse engineer your business right now, and we are going to start with the form that's the Breakthrough Business Broker form. The very front of it, the very front page says Breakthrough Broker Success Plan. Yes, ma'am. Vicki, can you hold it up again? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the screen right now. So this is the form that you're looking for in the WhatsApp string. 2021 Breakthrough Broker Success Plan. Does everybody got it? Okay, good.
Looks good.
We're getting the thumbs up. Whoop, whoop. So you can actually print this and fill it out with a pen and paper if you prefer that, or it is PDF fillable online. So let's go down to part 1. Okay. So the first thing you have to do is you've got to determine your monthly personal expenses, right? We're reverse engineering how much money you want to make by all the way down to how many transactions you have to close, to what the sales volume needs to be to know how to get to the point of how much money is going to land in your pocket after splits, after caps, and after Uncle Sam takes his piece. So where this starts is with exactly how much money it costs you to live. We'll figure it out monthly, and then we'll go annually. So we're going to determine your monthly personal expenses. And I'm just going to go through this screen, and I'm going to fill in some examples. I want you guys to fill in actual amounts. Now, if we get to something and you're like, I don't know. I don't know actually how much I spend on gas every month. I don't know how much gas I put in my car. That might be a good aha moment for you, to where you can maybe start tracking that and do a better job of keeping expenses, because we're determining right now what point A is so that we can get to point B. So if you don't have a good grasp on what it actually costs you to live every month, it's going to be harder for you to understand what you need to earn to get to point B. But it's never too late to start somewhere. So if you don't have an actual amount, throw an estimate in there for now, and you can always fine tune this later after the workshop. So let's just say that our mortgage payment is $1,800 a month. And Frankie, you're going to be our, and let's say we've got a car payment of $450. I'm not sure. I don't have car payments anymore. I think that my vehicle is horrible on gas. I drive a Jeep Rubicon with big, huge tires. And the reason I drive it is because I got tired of driving clients around. So I bought a vehicle that nobody would want to get into, and I refuse to put running boards on it. It's really awful, isn't it? But, so it's super bad on gas. So I'm going to say that, and remember, this is monthly. We're determining monthly expenses right here. I'm going to say that I probably spend a good $300 in gas per month. It's a pretty new vehicle. So maintenance wise, I'm probably only dropping about $75 per month in car maintenance. My car insurance, I've got so many vehicles on that plan. If I whittled it down to one, the car insurance for this in particular vehicle that helps me run my business is probably about $250 a month. You had another car payment, you could put it here. Your average electric bill, I know that sometimes it's greater in the summer. Your gas bill is usually greater in the winter, but let's just use an average here so that we can get to a nice annual number. So I'm going to say that my average electric bill is about 150. My average gas bill is probably about 35. Cable. Not sure if any of you have cable, but kind of think outside the box. You know, you want to put all your expenses on here. I mean, I cut the plug on cable a long time ago, but that doesn't mean I don't have expenses, because now I'm paying for apps, right? Now I'm paying for Netflix and I'm paying for Hulu, and I steal Frankie's Disney Plus. Please don't tell anybody. He let me, he hacked into it one time at my house. So I just continue to keep using it. So you might not have cable, but you still might have a monthly expense. You're going to want to put it here. So I'm not quite sure. I think I probably spend about, well, it's probably about $75 a month in apps. I know that my internet is $100 a month, and I know that my phone is $250 a month. My average water bill is going to be about another $80 a month. Food and entertainment. So I spend roughly $400 a week between the grocery store and Target and Costco. So that's going to be $1,600 a month. And then I probably have dinner expenses on top of that. So you know what, I'm gonna say that's around $2,000. Oops, 2,000, missing a zero. Travel. So I like to travel and I like to take vacations. And so that I'll typically drop like about $10,000 a year on a nice family vacation. So monthly, I'm just gonna say travel is gonna be about $800. I don't have children, so I'm going to skip childcare. Aside from all the other places that I do like to save money, you know, we obviously have got stock and rev share. I've got mutual funds and IRAs and all that great stuff. But I like to take like at least $1,000 a month, and I like to put it somewhere nice. Probably spend about $400 a month on health insurance. I don't have another cell phone. Credit cards are pretty minimal, so I probably about $500 a month there. Now you've got spaces for miscellaneous and other. You're going to want to put anything and everything in there that you have a debt for. So for me, for example, I tithe, right? So what do I tithe? I tithe about another $1,000 every month. Can we think of any other expenses or monthly budgets? You're going to want to go ahead, Lacey. No?
I was just thinking.
Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to put everything and anything and everything in there that you pay monthly. Oh, you know what? I got Pooper Scooper. He charges me $40 a month. It's a debt, so I'm going to put it on there.
Landscapers or pool guys?
Landscapers, pool guys, pest guys, absolutely.
Gym membership.
Gym member. Oh my gosh, that's the big one. $250 for lifetime. Okay, so where are we at in our fictitious little makeup here? 95.55.
9,555.
Holy hell, somebody's high maintenance. Okay, so here's what I know is that my monthly nut, in order for me to continue living the way I like to live, paying all of my bills, paying them on time, when I wake up on the first day of the month, I gotta make $9,555 in order to pay all my bills and meet all my obligations for that month. Okay, so now we've determined our monthly cost of living. I want to make sure everybody is with us before we move on. Is anybody still working on this or struggling with this? Okay, so everybody we can see looks good to go. Okay, so now we're going to go down to the next page. And what we're going to say is we're going to figure out what the annual number is. So take your $9,555, plug that into the box below the example, multiply it by 12. Now you have an annual figure. So for this instance, in the case of this example, our annual figure is going to be $114,660. So every year, my minimum expenses are $114,660. Okay. So now we want to talk about how much we really want to make, right? How much money, you know how much money it takes to get through the month, you know how much money it takes to get through the year, but you don't want to just get by. You know, you also want to be able to do some other things. You want to have some financial freedom. So what is the magic number that you want to earn after taxes take home? So what would your take home target be? And here we want to be realistic, but you know, don't sell yourself short either. So if you're looking at what you made last year and you want to grow from that, this is your opportunity to dictate your own story, right? And I think you're going to find out how simple that is when we get to the bottom of this. So stretch yourself a little bit here.
This is
if you know
annual
exactly-
number on this box.
Step
Yes.
3. This is your take home. Yep. This is your take home, step 3. So I'm gonna say I want to make $175,000. I want that to be my take home. From the $175,000, I've paid all my expenses, everything else is gone. So I know that from the $175,000, I'm spending $114,660 in expenses. Some of that has been towards savings, a lot of that has been towards vacations, but that's what I'm going to pay annually out of the $175,000. Has everybody got a number? Okay. Step number 4. Well, we can't forget about Uncle Sam, right? Because Uncle Sam's going to take his cut. So in order for me to make $175,000 take home, I have to reverse engineer it to figure out what I need to make before taxes. Make sense? So let's, for the sake of this example here, they're assuming a 30% tax bracket. And guys, this is where either your brain works in spreadsheets and analytical numbers or it doesn't. So a lot of people can go like a little brain fuzzy right here. Just stick with me and just stop us, unmute yourself and tell me to stop if you're not following along. So what we're doing right now is we're going to reverse engineer the number so that you know exactly how much you need to make for the IRS to take their cut so that you land with your take home dollar amount, which for this case is $175,000. So the example is showing that this person is in a 30% tax bracket. Your tax bracket could be less than that. I'm not sure. We live in a pretty forgiving state when it comes to taxes. So you could be a little less than 30% because we also don't have state tax. For the sake of this argument, what this is saying is that if you're in a 30% tax bracket, that means that you're keeping 70% approximately of your earnings after the IRS gets their share. So if your target take home were 90,000 in this case, and you were going to keep 70% of it, you would divide 90,000 by 0.7 to know what your total number needed to be in income. God bless you, Tina. Let's use our example. So our example was, we're going to also say we're in a 30% tax bracket. So right here in this box that's fillable, this is where you're going to put in what you believe your tax bracket is. If you believe it's 25%, put 25% in there. We'll use 30% for the sake of this example. So that means that I'm keeping 70% of everything I make after I pay the IRS. Well, my target take home might be 175,000. So I'm going to take 175,000 and I'm going to divide that by 0.70 because that's what I get to keep. And now I know that I actually need to make $250,000, right? So that is my new target income goal. So I need to make $250,000 so that I can give the IRS 30% of it. And my take home is 175,000. Pretty simple, right? Okay. Is everybody following me and have a number? Give me this and I know you're good. Yay! Okay, part 2. So now we know what our take home goal is, right? But there's another layer. So we don't just make commissions and keep all of them. There's different types of structures. And so every single person on this Zoom meeting right now, somebody needs to mute. Sorry.
It's Angie.
Oh, it's Angie. You can mute her.
You might be able to. There she goes. She's muted.
So everybody on this Zoom right now is probably on some type of different structure, right? You could be an independent agent with EXP and you're working off of a cap. Maybe you're working off of a $16,000 cap. You could be on a team and you could be working off of both a cap and a split. So if you're on a team, you might be working off of an $8,000 cap plus a split with your team lead, right? So we know that before you actually get the money in your bank account, it also gets filtered by transaction fees, team splits, any other business expenses and things of that nature. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take that new number and reverse engineer it based on your situation, based on whether you're working off of a split or whether you're working off of a cap or whether you're working off of both, to find out what the new number is that you need to make. Bear with me. Everybody good? Yes. Okay, so let's go down to the top of the page where it says step 1, your broker gets a cut. Okay, so this is going to be an example if you're working on a split. Okay, so if you, let's say for instance, you're working on a team and you're on a split and you're on an 80-20 split, and you know that you keep 80% of everything you work. The boxes get kind of overcomplicated, but it's pretty simple. So if your team lead takes 20% of everything you own, then you know that you're going to keep 80% or 0.8. So you'd put in your taxable income, you would divide it by 0.8. Now you know what the number is you need to earn so that you're earning this amount of money, your team lead is keeping this amount of money, the IRS is getting this amount of money, and now you have your take-home pay. So let's do our example based on this information. For those of you who are working on a cap, you can skip this part. If you're an independent agent and you're not using a split, you're just going to use your whole number of the cap. Even though you're on a split until you reach the cap, I know that you're all really successful smart rats and most of you are capping anyway. So let's just put the 16 in there. So for the sake of this part of the exercise, you can skip this part. For those of you who are on a split, let's scroll down and we are going to go to page 6 where we're going to figure that out. So let's say you're on a 70-30 split. That means that 30% in the box A is going to your team lead. And that means if 30% is going to the team lead, you're keeping 70%. So we've determined, what have we determined our taxable income is, Frankie?
250? Yep.
All right, so this is correct. Apologize for that. So we've determined that we need $250,000. However, we're only keeping 70% of that. So what's the magical number we have to make in income to be able to keep the $250,000? Well, you take the 250, you divide it by 70% or 0.70. Now I know what the true number is, and it's actually $357,000 in income. So when I'm on a team and I'm on a 70-30 split, I'm going to be making $357,000 in commission income. My team lead is going to be keeping their 30%, and they're going to be paying me $250,000. From the $250,000, if I'm in a 30% tax bracket, I'm paying the IRS $75,000, and I'm keeping $175,000, which is my desired gross take-home pay. Make sense? I'm getting lots of yeses. This is great. I know this is super dry stuff, guys. Okay, so 357,000 is the new number. Now, for those of you that are on a cap, the math is super simple. You could look at this little worksheet here. This is where you're going to fill it out. So let's say right down here is where you're working on a cap. You backed into reverse engineered to, if you want to take home
what our dues are.
What's that, Steve?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I'm unmuted. I'm wondering what our dues are.
We're going to get there. See right below? Okay, so if you're on a cap and you know that you've reverse engineered it and you know you need to make $250,000 prior to paying the IRS, all you're going to do is you're going to add whatever your cap is to that. In EXP, if you're an independent agent, that's going to be $16,000. So if I want to keep 250, pay the IRS 75, keep 175. Now I know after my cap, I actually need to make 266,000. So if you are on a half cap and a split, you can work both of these at the same time. Okay. So does everybody have their number? Yes. All
Nice.
heads shaken. Yes. All right, Frankie, will you run with this part? Because I need water.
Sure.
So now let's talk about expenses, right? So just like Steve was asking, listen, it costs money to run a business. So now we have to add those expenses on top of our income. So Frankie, go ahead. You can use
Alrighty.
this one.
Is that, oh, that's the one?
This
we
is the
use?
screen share.
Okay, gotcha. So for board dues, does anybody know what the annual board dues are for MLS, Realtor? Off the top of your head?
640.
640?
Yes,
That's annual or monthly?
annual,
640, awesome.
January 1st.
And they're due coming up, soon, so don't forget. MLS fees, did you guys say it's about 500?
600 per year.
600 per year? Thank you, Vicki.
Yes.
Desk fees,
So
I'm not sure if anybody here rents a desk or if anybody works from home, but put it in there if you have a desk fee. Renewals would be about 200 bucks, I think. Insurance, as we know, we get it per transaction fee through EXP, so about $2,000 per year. Education, that can vary from anything from nothing to thousands of dollars. With EXP, it's insane. We get a bunch of free education.
So not for you, typically low right now.
Yeah.
So our E&O though is $50 a transaction. So and it caps at $500 a year, by the way.
Oh, sweet. So we'll go 500. Education. Yeah. For me, my last CCIM course is $1,400 alone. So it's going to look a little different for me, but EXP has so many free trainings. It's awesome. And then other, Facebook ads, your cold call list, subscriptions. Yeah. Inman, New York Times, whatever else you have for your business. So let's add this up. Everybody's will look a little different.
There's a key fee on there also, I think.
Central.
Key fee.
Central.
That's the MLS fee.
That's what you're calling MLS? Okay.
Yes.
He's awesome. Plus 1,100 plus 640. So we're looking at. I was just doing the math in my head. 4,640 for mine. We'll stick with that. So now you just add the business expenses to your income before commission split. We got 357,000 plus our 4,640. We're looking at 361. And congratulations. Once you get that number, you figured out
That's amazing.
your required income.
So is anybody in complete overwhelm right now? Like, what the hell? I have to make $357,000 in commission? Is there anybody going, that's impossible? I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, good. So what we're going to do now, now is really the fun part. So now we get to figure out, we're going to reverse engineer how much business you have to actually do to make that much money, right? And I think what you're going to find is that it's a lot more simple than you might think. So part 3, how many deals can you close? So we're going to dive into the sales volume you're going to need to be able to reach those monetary goals, okay? So first thing we have to do, we are going to come up with your average commission. I mean, for the sake of this workshop, I think it's pretty safe to use 3% as an average commission. If you're Cody Lewis and you're a listing specialist and you're slaying 7% listings, maybe you're making more than that. So you know what your average commission rate is. If you think it's more than that or less than that, use whatever number is most accurate to you. Maybe you're an EXP Express offer specialist, and so your commission is going to vary by the volume that you do with them. Whatever number is correct for you, put it in here. For most people, it's going to be 3% still. So then what you would do is you would take your gross GCI, or excuse me, your gross CGI, and you would divide it by 3%. And what that's going to do is that's going to give you your target volume, your sales volume that you have to close in order to reach that commission amount or that income amount, right? And so our number is, what's our number, Frankie, do?
361,640. Yep.
Okay, so for the sake of argument in this example, we're just going to say 362,000. Will you do the math?
Yep. 362.
So 362,000 divided by 0.03 or 3% is going to give us our sales volume.
12
So
million.
again, we pretty much, the number doesn't change much, but we're going to use round numbers. So we need to close $12,100,000 in sales volume to be able to reach that commission amount. So now you have to figure out, okay, so I need to close $12 million in sales volume. How do I do that? How many homes is it going to take for me to close that sales volume? So down in step 2, what you do is you take your targeted sales volume right here in this box. In this case, it's 5,550,000 for the example, times the average sales price. So it's going to give you the number of transactions. So if you're a seasoned agent, you probably know what your average sales price is. And it's going to be a little different for everybody. If you're a seasoned agent, you might specialize in a niche right now. Maybe you specialize in new home sales. Again, maybe you specialize with EXP Express offers. If you're a seasoned agent, you've done a couple years business underneath your belt, you should have your average sales price. If not, and if you're brand new in the business, go ahead and take the average or median sales price in Las Vegas, which is about $345,000. So if you're new and starting out, let's just use the Las Vegas average of 345,000 and we'll reverse engineer from there. For me, I'm going to say maybe my average sales price is 500,000. So right here in this box, you are going to input your target sales volume, 12,100,000. And then you are going to divide it by your average sales price. In this case, we're going to say 500,000. So if my target sales volume is 12.1, my average sales price is 500,000. I need to close 24 transactions in 2021 in order to put $175,000 in my pocket. So is there anyone on this Zoom that thinks it sounds difficult to close 24 transactions? 2 a month, guys. Do you guys think you can close 2 months a deal, 2 deals a month?
No.
Vicky's going, yeah, hello. Heck yeah. I mean, this is a piece of cake, right? I think maybe sometimes the numbers, they sound a little overwhelming, and then you target it down into the number of transactions you have to do, and you're going, that's all I got to do? I can do this. I am the hero in my own story. I got 24 transactions in me. So now we know the magical number. So here's another fun part. We're going to figure out how many leads you need to have in order to close those transactions, because let's be super honest. Well, first, I apologize. We'll start with part 4. Let's talk about your business. If you've been in the industry for a while, you got a couple years or more underneath your belt, you might be a buyer specialist, you might be a seller specialist. We're going to actually narrow that down in between how many transactions you need to do on each side, right? So for this example, they're saying that 60% of their business has come from sellers and 40% of their business comes from buyers. So in this example, they're saying that they need approximately 17 seller closed transactions and approximately 11 closed buyers transactions. Let's put in the numbers for you. In my business, we do a lot of listings, but listings also generate a lot of buyer leads, right? So we're just about 50-50. So we're using my team examples in here. So about 50% of our business is sellers and about 50% of our business is buyers. So if 50% of my business is sellers and I need 24 transactions, you're going to multiply 50% by 24, simple math. It's half the number. Half the number is that I need to close 12 seller or listing side transactions. Then you're going to do the same thing for buyer. Again, very simple math in this instance. Half my transactions need to be buyer closed transactions. So that's another 12. Does everybody have your number? And if you're new in the business, I highly suggest you do 50-50, especially for those of you that are on my team. You know that I'm going to purposefully put you on both sides of the transactions so that you can understand what it's like to represent a buyer and a seller. And then as far as I'm concerned, if you do find a niche and you're like, I love sellers, I want to do listings, that's all I want to do, that's great. But representing buyers literally just makes you a better listing agent because now you're more empathetic as to what's going on the other side. So if you're new in the business, I suggest you just use 50-50. It's probably going to be pretty accurate at the end of the year anyway. Everybody have a numbers? Yes. Okay, good. Step 2. So now we have to figure out your success rate because let's be honest, we don't win them all, right? Even the best of the best, we don't win them all. So getting a listing to the closing table is a chore sometimes. And you can take a listing, that doesn't mean you're going to actually sell the property and get it closed. So now if you've been in the business a while, you need to figure out what your success rate is for actually closing listings. I'm gonna be honest with you, my success rate for closing listings is 100%. And that's only because I don't take listings that I can't close. I don't take overpriced listings. I don't take hard to work with sellers. And most of 99% of my business is all repeat and referral. So when somebody hires me, they pretty much trust me that I'm going to do the deal. So here, if this were me, I'd be putting in 100%. For the sake of this exercise, we're going to assume that we close 90%. I think you guys are more than capable of closing 90%. Whatever it is for you, if you know you have a track record, put it in there. If you're brand new in the industry, I believe in you, so use 90%. So we're going to come down to the box and we're going to put our example in there. So if we have to close 12 transactions and we're successful at actually closing 90% of them, that means take a listing, get it on the market, sell it, get it to the closing table, it recorded, it put a commission in your bank account. That means that we actually take the 12, divide it by 90%. That means we have to actually have 13 listings, right? One of them is going to be a bummer. One of them is going to fall through. Something's going to happen. So the matched number that you actually need to list is 13, and you're going to close 12 of them. Okay. This is all about being realistic. It's all about building in room for error, right? Because you want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for failure. So that's what this part of the exercise is being realistic and allowing room for error. So we know we need at least 13 listings to close 12. But here's the deal. We also don't win every listing appointment we go on, right? So now we have to leave room for error for that. So if you've been in the business a while, you know how successful you are at your listing appointments. And let's say you are successful 80% of the time of going on a listing appointment, getting the contract signed and putting the house on the market. For our example, we're going to come down here and we know that we need 13 listings. If we're successful 80% of the time, we're going to take the 13, we're going to divide it by 0.8 or 8%. Now we know that we need 16 listing appointments. So guys, think about this in logical terms. One of my vintage agents, I would love for one of you to speak up right now. 16 listing appointments in a year. Is it doable for a new agent?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Why?
It's less than one a week. You have 20 or 52 weeks in a year. You just have to get in front of 16 people.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a no-brainer. You go on vacation, you talk to at least 5. You go to a bar or in a charity event, and you've got 20 or 30 people right there.
Yeah, absolutely. 16 listing appointments, guys, that's just over one a month. It's very, very doable to go on 16 listing appointments in a year. then you're successfully listing 13 of those properties and you're successfully closing 12 of those properties at an average sales price of $500,000. Okay. Does everybody have this number for your total listing appointments? Yep. Heads are shaking. Okay. Now let's go to the other side of the coin, buyer representation and buyer closings. So just like the seller side, the buyer transaction sides are bound to fall through once in a while. You want to build in for inequities here. So how successful are you? So if you need 12 buyers and your estimated success rate is 80%, we're going to be really conservative even. We're just going to say that you're only successful at closing, oh, excuse me, it was 13 buyers, right?
12.
12, I'm sorry. We're going to say that you're only successful in closing 80% of the buyers that come to you. So the number that you actually need is 15. So we want 15 buyers in 2021, 15 hot buyers. I'm not talking mediocre buyers. I'm talking buyers that are actually going to call the lender. They're going to get pre-approved. They're going to do everything that they need to do to go out with you and successfully purchase a home. Not all of them are going to work out, especially in this market. And honestly, in this market, that number might need to be a little bit more. I mean, we are 100% without a doubt in a seller's market right now, right? So just for example, the last listing we put on the market, sweet little killer house, 250,000 in the middle of town, not the best neighborhood ever, but incredibly well maintained. And we do killer marketing and advertising. And we had 8 offers in the first 2 days, right? So unfortunately, we negated 7 offers on that property. So especially in a seller's market, you're not always going to be as successful. So realistically, this number might need to be a little bit more, but for the sake of this workshop, we're going to leave it at 15. So in order for you to be successful on your buy side, you need 15 hardcore hot buyers to close 12 of them. Okay. Part 5, you got to put in the work every day. So we've come up with the goals. What I want you guys to do is skip this little page here, and I want you to go to now. If you've been doing this online and you've been putting the numbers in here, it has automatically created your 1-page success plan. So look how cool this is. It's right in front of you. And what I'm going to tell you is that print this out and put it in front of you somewhere every single day where you're going to see it and you're going to look at it. So if this were true for me, I would be looking at this every single day. My take-home goal is $175,000. I know what I need to make in gross commission income, or GCI, to do that is $361,640. I know that my sales volume is approximately 12,100,000. And the truth of the matter is I could go out and I could go slay a couple huge deals, right? I could go slay a couple $2 million properties and far surpass this. But on average, I need a sales volume of about 12,100,000. I'm going to say about 12 of them are going to be buyer transactions and about 12 of them are going to be seller transactions. I'm going to close about a total of 24 transactions, and I need 15 engaged buyers and I need 16 listing appointments to do that. Guys, that's a walk in the park, right? Pretty simple reverse engineering.
Pam, can I ask you a question?
Please.
So in a situation, I mean, some of us, like myself, if we do hit a home run and we do have that big sale, there's a tendency to say, well, I just did 3 months worth of volume in 1 month. I guess I can take the next 2 months off.
Yeah, you let up pass,
so,
right?
So is it, would you say that it's probably a good idea to revisit this continually and make adjustments and revamp according to what your actual results are?
100%. I say that you revisit quarterly. You should be looking at it every day, but you should literally be revisiting it with your stats and where you're at financially. Hey, the greatest thing about EXP is the dashboard, right? How many of you actually go into EXP Enterprise and look at your dashboard every morning? So you could go with I love you. Thank you, Dave. You could go into your dashboard every morning and you know exactly where you're at. It's crazy because there's two ways to live your life, right? There's things that promote dopamine hits. And when you go, whatever you go after that's going to promote a dopamine hit earlier in the morning is going to dictate the rest of your day, right? So do you roll over in the morning, grab your phone, turn it off, and turn on look at Instagram so you can get a dopamine hit? Or do you roll over, grab your phone, and open your dashboard? What's my rev share, baby? Where's my stock at, baby? I'm going to tell you right now, that's where I get my dopamine hits. And then that determines the rest of my day.
What's
And
that stock price? Whoop, whoop.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I'm not crying when it's 40. I'm buying when it's 40. Okay. And you should be buying as much as you can at 60, because guess what's going to happen? This is where it's going, right? Exactly. So you be careful where you put your mind and where you're getting your dopamine hit. And Steve, to couple that with where you're going with all of that is that once you reach a level of hitting something, there almost becomes like this need to lay off the gas. You get to celebrate, right? No, you don't. You don't get to celebrate, because there's more to go. There's more to do. You might just be a little bit more successful than you thought you were, right? Maybe you underestimated yourself. What I don't want you to do, if you revisit quarterly and you decide to make changes, I don't want you to cut yourself any slack. Okay, so you don't get to revisit because, oh, I didn't reach my goal, so I probably overshot it, and now I'm going to readjust down. That's probably not the best solution for you. But if you're killing it and you overestimated, or excuse me, you're killing it and you underestimated yourself, yes, readjust those numbers so that you keep stretching, keep growing. You want to be uncomfortable in this business plan. This business plan should not be comfortable. The $357,000 should make you want to, throw up a little bit if that's something you've never done. It should make you a little uneasy. So the dopamine hits will sometimes make you, be careful where you're focusing your attention. Get your dopamine hits in the right places, and don't ever let off the gas. One of my heroes just passed away. He broke the sound barrier. Chuck Yeager. Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier, right? And kind of going a little squirrel on the story here, but I love the story of Chuck Yeager and when he broke the sound barrier. Is anybody familiar with the story? Yeah. So we're attempting to break the sound barrier, right? So we've got all these pilots that are going up, and they just get the plane to the point where they're just about to break sound barrier. And what happens? The plane starts shaking, everything starts rocking, and they're going, oh my God, this is not supposed to happen. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And they're so close to breakthrough. They're so close to breakthrough, but they get scared. They get nervous. Their plane is rocking. Their plane is shaking. What do? They let off the gas. What happens when they let off the gas? Their plane exploded. Do you know how many pilots we lost trying to break the sound barrier? More than I would like to admit. So why was Chuck Yeager different? First of all, he was crazy. He was crazy. This kid he was insane. His life story is amazing. But so now it's Chuck Yeager's attempt. He's up there. He's in the plane. He knows what's happened to the other pilots. He knows that their planes blew up. He knows that they died attempting to break the sound barrier, but he goes up in the plane anyway. So Chuck Yeager is up in the plane. He's at that point where he's about to break through, right? His plane starts rocking and his plane starts shaking. What does Chuck Yeager do? He gasses it. He steps on the gas. He goes for it. He goes full throttle. And guess what? He broke the sound barrier. All of a sudden he was just soaring. And so the moral of the story is when you're stretching yourself, you've got this business plan and you're looking at it every single day and you're stretching yourself, right? How am I going to do this? This is a lot. You get to the point where your plane starts shaking. Do not let off the gas. You are at the point of breakthrough. Okay. Live in uncomfortable. It's okay. Uncomfortable is good. Just keep going and break through. You got to do it over and over again. So I digress, but I love that story. So
Pam,
yes.
Pam, would you say then, you said if you've underestimated, you should revisit and increase your goal. But if you've overestimated or you're missing your number, then would you, I mean, now you're looking at a daunting number but without understanding exactly how to get there. So would you say then that we need to make that adjustment to say, okay, I needed 2 listing appointments a month. Now I need 3 listing appointments a month. I mean, we need to make some adjustments in our activity in order to hit the nut, right?
Super good point. Absolutely. Yeah, you're going to have to make adjustments in your daily to-dos, which is where we're going now in the business plan, right? So now you're left with, okay, these are the numbers I got to get. How do I do that, right? How do I get there? So now I need an outline. I need kind of like to focus on what it is I need to do every single day to get there. So yeah, Steve, if you're not hitting the numbers, I mean, first of all, utilize your resources. You've got everybody in this Zoom, you've got the Synergy WhatsApp string, you've got people that you can reach out to and leverage resources, right? So if you're not hitting your numbers, you got to look internally and figure out why. What am I doing? What am I not doing? And then you're going to definitely have to adjust. Okay, so now I don't need 2 listing appointments per month. I need 3 listing appointments a month. How am I going to get there? So that you definitely do want to readjust. I'm just saying, don't cut yourself a break because you didn't get there. Don't make excuses for yourself, right? You can live in excuses or you can write your own story. So this 2021 is about writing our own story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next page that I want to share with you guys. Nope. How do I get this out of the way? Let me move this down. Okay. Here's where the magic happens. So the next page that we are going to, here's where we're going to figure out the how, okay? And this really, herein lies the magic. There's no fairy dust. There's no magic sauce or whatever it is that people call it. It's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of dedication and it's a lot of focus. So herein lies the magic of figuring out what it is that I'm going to do every single day to hit that number. So the great news is we just took you guys through all the steps it took in your business planning to figure out what your annual goal was. So right there, you'd be putting what your annual goal is. Now we're going to figure out what are the 3 key focus areas that you're going to focus on to get there. And then we're going to drill down into under all of those 3 key focus areas. What are the 4 or 5 things that you're going to do consistently and repetitively to get there? Because I really do believe that you can be good at a lot of things and a master of nothing, or you can master a few things really, really well, right? And so we probably all know of somebody in the industry, whether it's somebody that's in the Synergy community, whether it's somebody that's in EXP, whether it's somebody that we watch on Instagram or some form of social media who has mastered something and who does it really well over and over and over again. And those people become successful because of their dedication and their focus. When we get too shiny pennied and unfocused and, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. Well, why is this agent doing this and making money? Maybe I should be doing this. We're going to take one year and dedicate 12 months to being a master at 3 focus areas. I guarantee you, you will kill it if you stay on track. Couple examples. There was a guy that moved to Vegas probably about 7 years ago. He was a realtor in California and he did pretty well. He did okay for himself. Relocated his family, his wife, his 2 small kids to Las Vegas on a wing and a prayer. He really didn't know Las Vegas well. He had visited a couple times, but it was always on the strip, never went off the strip. He didn't want a day job. He had become really accustomed to his lifestyle and he really loved it. So he wanted to be able to be a realtor here and have that same lifestyle. So he saved up 3 months bills in his bank account. He had 3 months to make it or move back home, right? So he comes here and he says, what can I do? He decided that he was going to be the best open house agent Las Vegas ever saw. He was going to own that neighborhood. He invested some money in some open house signs, blew up his own balloons, would run around. He didn't have anybody that he hired to place signs or do any of this other stuff. He made his own marketing materials. He huffed the streets. So he found a neighborhood and he did that. And every morning before he had, his goal was one open house a day for 30 days. So every morning he walked the same neighborhood and he knocked on doors in a beautiful suit. And he would talk to people and he would be like, hey, it's me again. I just want to let you know I'm sorry for all the extra traffic you're going to have in here. It's me. I'm doing another open house. So I apologize if anything, if you have any troubles, you need anything, I'm going to be over at your neighbors over here. Just, let me know. I apologize in advance. Right. So he's knocking on doors, letting people know what he's doing every single day. He was a little irritating probably at the beginning, but let me tell you, that man slayed it. There was not one person in that neighborhood that did not hire him after 6 months. He owned every listing in that neighborhood and he still does. And the guy makes money hand over fist. He never had to move back to California. What did he do? He focused on one thing. He got dedicated to it. He decided to own it and master it. He could have got distracted, right? He could have been like, oh, I should be over here and I should be Facebook advertising and trying to capture California market. Oh, I should be over here and I should be using my CRM and I should be doing this and should be doing that. It's not to say that any of those things are unsuccessful. The point is he didn't get distracted. He decided to do something. He focused on it. He did it very well and he killed it. Another quick story. There was a guy back east in Boston. And he always tried to break into like the big buildings, right? The big towers and all that. He really wanted to be that luxury guy, right? So he got an idea one day to go into the lobby. He had to sneak into the lobby because you had to have access to get in. He didn't have access, right? So the door's open, it's winter outside, it's snowing everywhere. He sneaks in with $1,000 cash in his pocket and he starts talking to the elevator operator, the bellman. And he gives him $1,000 and he said, listen, everybody in this place, you see them every day. Anybody that wants to sell their place, you call me, I'll have another stack of money for you. I'm not saying you should bribe people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is something that he did to be dedicated. And then what did he do? He snuck in that lobby every single morning for the next 60 days, brought that man a fresh hot cup of coffee just as he was ready, like an hour before he was ready to get off ship. He's tired, he's worked all night. This guy is feeding him leads hand over fist. And pretty soon he owned the building. There was nobody that got any listings in that building except for him. What did he do? He did the same exact thing over and over again. He was dedicated to it. He owned it. So for you guys, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to figure out what it is for you that speaks to you, what it is you like to do. I've got a new agent who, he just decided to become like KV Core expert extraordinaire. Can't even explain to you what this kid can do in 2 weeks of data mining and learning and doing everything possible KV Core. He's doing stuff on KV Core I didn't even know was possible. He's going to kill it on KV Core. But what he did was decided to utilize that tool that EXP gives us to all of his advantage, right? So you're going to pick 3 focus areas. And from those 3 focus areas, we will data mine down into what you're going to do over and over and over again to make sure that those 3 focus areas serve you. And maybe we can get somebody that would be willing to be an example. So in the example that they give us in this real estate business plan, they are going to, number 1, customer service. So his goal around here, his focus area is customer service, and that's to create the ultimate client experience. Number 2 is lead generation. He was going to track agent generation and conversion activity. Number 3, hire and recruit, attract new talent to the team. Those were his 3 focus areas. Then if you look down underneath it, so number 1, for instance, was customer service. So he lists all the things that he's going to do on the regular under customer service to make sure that he's constantly working in that area of his business, right? Number 1, admin assistant to conduct 30, 90, and 120-day follow-up calls to clients after all closings to suggest vendors for improvements and ask for referrals. 2, produce pre-listing video, introduce them to the team, market plan. I mean, how cool is that? There's even something that we do on my team. We do video is king. I mean, oh my gosh, video is just, it's so personal and it's so relational, right? So we get bound up in technology a lot, and sometimes we're not that personal with our people. So we had this idea to do little videos that we could drop into people on text message as they go through the process. So it's the same exact video every time. It was Tina Rogers' beautiful little face. We took it like a couple days to draft the content on these videos. Then we took one solid day of her recording these videos and us editing them. Now she has a library on YouTube of all these videos that she drops people as they go through the process. So it's a lot of work on the front end, but on the back end, what happened? It's like she drops the first video, your offer's been presented. We can't wait to know, blah, 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 blah. Second one, congratulations, your offer's been accepted. We're going to open escrow. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be in touch with you about the earnest deposit. So hang in there. You'll hear from me within the next 24 hours. Like these tiny little videos all the way through to walkthrough, all the way through to closing, right? People love these videos. They eat them up. So that's what he's talking about here on number 2. Number 3, increase the online presence. Number 4, enhance and update, yada, yada, yada. I think you get the picture. However, when we do this, what is most important is to be very, very, very specific, right? We all know that the mind works in pictures. So what you see is what you get. So be very, very careful the pictures you create in your mind. So what I'm trying to say here is like, I had a friend once, she had an epiphany. And so she's this incredible woman. Her name is Paris Washington. And Paris always wanted to go to the Olympics. She played softball. She played competitive softball. She was an incredible athlete. And the whole time she was growing up, her goal was to go to the Olympics. Well, one day she reached her goal. She was on the United States women's softball team, and she went to the Olympics, and she came home a silver medalist. And she was crestfallen. She was devastated. And I was like, Paris, what is you're an Olympian. And she said, I never told myself I wanted to be a gold medalist. Heartbreaking, right? So the mind works in pictures. Be very, very careful what you're telling yourself, because you will get it, okay? And so what we're gonna do is when we do this, we're gonna work off of a SMART goal system. Have any of you, Vicki, I know you have your SMART rat. Has anyone else on the Zoom worked with the SMART goal system? SMART is an acronym. Yay, Frankie has. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna break down what SMART goals look like and what it means. So if you have a pen and paper, please write this down while Frankie goes through it. So on the left side of your paper, write SMART. I think we have everybody's face back.
Love it.
Okay, so the SMART goal system is going to set you up such that when you are writing your focus areas, you're writing them using a system where you will be very specific and you'll get exactly what you're asking for. So
the first one, S, is specific. Has to be very specific.
Good guess.
M, measurable. Have to be something that's somewhat reasonable, obtainable.
So measurable, let's talk about that. Somebody give me an example of a goal that would be measurable, or a goal that wouldn't be measurable.
Like a specific number of listing appointments want to go on per month. That's measurable, right?
Totally.
And
Something
one
that
that's not measurable is more listing appointments per month.
100%, Dave.
Exactly.
I want to go on more listings. You know, a really good way of understanding it is for somebody who says, I want to lose weight. Okay, you could lose a pound, and guess what? You got your goal. You lost weight. Do you want to lose weight, or do you want to lose 10 pounds of fat? Like, we're getting that specific. So we have specific, measurable.
And then attainable. So something that's obviously within your capabilities as an agent, as a person.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, if I had a goal to go to the moon next month, is that really attainable? Probably not. You know what I mean? So are we telling you not to stretch we telling you not to stretch yourself? No, we're just saying don't make it ridiculous. Make it within your means and your capabilities.
Yep. And the next one, this is the most important to me, risky.
Awesome. Why is that most important to you?
Because you got to risk it to get the biscuit. If you've ever heard that saying. It goes right with attainable. You got to make sure it's, within your capabilities, but also risky to where you're not, I want one listing appointment a month. Like that's, anybody can get one listing appointment a month. Be risky. And it goes back to the comfort zone that we're talking about.
Absolutely. 100%.
And the last one is timely or timetable. Use a couple people different ways of putting it, but put a time on it. I want more listing appointments, or I want 50 listing appointments. And when do you schedule them? When do you close them? It goes back to being specific again. Give yourself a timeline.
And for the sake of this business planning, you're going to have different timetables, right? So some of your timetables are wrapped around 1 year or 12 months. So that's, I'm going to make $175,000 net income in 12 months. Some of your timetable are going to be daily, weekly. When you get into your 3 focus areas, you're literally going to put a timetable on how often you have to do things. Because let's say you want to create a social media presence on Instagram, and you want to create 20 leads a week from Instagram. So one of your goals in your focus areas might be to DM 50 people per day. That would be one thing. One of your goals for Instagram might be to post 2 times per week. So there's always going to be a timetable attached to your individual focus area tasks as well, right? So I think the best way to do this is if there would be one brave soul that would be willing to work with us. So we can actually work with you on one focus area. So we can determine exactly what that focus area is. And then we can work with you on the 4 or 5 tasks that you're going to have to do on the regular to be completely dedicated to achieve that goal. Is there anyone who has like a good idea of a focus area they want to focus in on it? And here's what I'm going to say. In EXP, we are so fortunate, right? I have agents who some of their focus area is just the workplace referral network. Do you guys get on Workplace Referral Network? I can't tell you what a gold mine that place is. I have gotten a lot of business from it. I mean, David's kind of like half and half. I've got a lot of business from it. And so honestly, I try to encourage my agents that if your laptop is open and your tabs are open, make that referral network one of them. You never know what's going to land. You've got the Nevada Referral Network and you've got the Las Vegas Referral Network. So if you're vocal and you're on there, the chance of you getting a referral are pretty dang good. The referrals work both ways, obviously. So people are referring, looking for agents in Las Vegas to help them with buyers and sellers. And then you can also refer out of state, but you could literally make referrals one of your major focus areas. You've got EXP Express offers. That's incredible. I have an agent who last year that was one of her focus areas. And so not only was she the first agent in Nevada to close an EXP Express offer, she also got to resell that property. And then Wedgwood just decided to hire her to help them sell a lot of other properties that didn't even go through EXP Express offers because she was the first one to do it. And she was the one who got the source, right? So she decided she was going to be the queen of EXP Express offers. I even had Jason Gessing reach out to me. Jason and I met in New York City in January, so we have a bit of a connection, but I even had him reach out to me and say, you don't know how proud I was of Las Vegas. You guys made me proud. Now that wouldn't have happened if she didn't own it, right? She was very clear. So we have EXP Express offers. The focus areas that are available to you just because of the platform that you work under, which is this cloud brokerage of EXP, are so much greater than any other company if you worked in. So really the sky is the limit. So is there anybody, we got about 15 minutes. If there's anybody that's willing to be a guinea pig, come on, what do you gotta be?
I'm happy to, unless anybody else wants to jump in.
Let's do it, Lacey.
Okay, so I'm in a unique market, right? I'm in Hawaii, not Vegas. So I have some different issues, but if you could talk me through it, anybody in Vegas can apply this then, because
Yeah, absolutely. It's universal.
Yes. So I'm a brand new agent in a brand new market. Like I don't know the market. Like I'm a recent transplant. I don't know much of anything except for some of the admin stuff of real estate, so I've never been, right on the ground. So probably my first big focus and strategy needs to be lead generation.
Awesome.
And I know this is going to sound really silly to Vegas, but when we did our numbers, I only have to do 9 transactions in 2021. Now,
So
keep in mind, our transactions are about $1 million.
In median price range, I would imagine, right?
About $1 million, yeah. And the inventory is super low. There's not a whole lot of inventory to go around.
Okay. So you want to go after listings, girlfriend, because listings are paychecks,
Okay.
right? When there's a supply and demand crunch, I cover the stats in Las Vegas every week. I'm reviewing them. Every week I'm interpreting them. We went into the pandemic with a shortage of inventory. The pandemic further slowed inventory coming on the market. Probably 10 weeks ago, we were putting about 1,200 houses on the market pretty consecutively per week. We were selling between 1,000 and 1,100. So, I mean, we're squeezed, right? Then we got presidential election, and all of a sudden the listings coming on the market dried up a bit. We went down to like 500 the week before election. Then we went back up to like 700. And now we got to Thanksgiving and we're still only putting 700 and selling 1,000. So with that information, where do you want to be as an agent? Who do you want to represent?
What do you mean by who? Sorry.
Well, you kind of want to represent the seller, right? Because listings are paychecks in this kind of market, right? So I would say that we would probably want to focus on lead generation, and we would want those leads to be as specific to listings as we possibly could in order for you to be more successful in having an easier time closing them, right? If you have a shortage of inventory like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so lead generation. So you are the KV Killa instructor.
Yes.
So I have to assume you're using KV Core.
So I don't have any leads.
Okay.
I know nobody. I have nothing. So, I mean, there can't be anybody that starts at ground zero like I am starting at ground zero right now. So if you can talk me through it, anybody can do it.
Okay. So do you want to utilize KV Core as one of your lead generation systems and tools?
Absolutely.
Okay. So have you ever thought of farming an area?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing that some of my agents do is they'll decide to farm an area. I've got a brand new agent who decided she's going to farm the Paseos. And I would imagine that you can probably do the same thing over there. We have a pretty good connection with Julie and Sydney Cimarelli at Fidelity National Title. And so we put Lena in front of her and we said, Lena wants to become the queen of the Paseos. She lives there. It's her neighborhood. It's her hood. How does she best get in touch with these people? And so what they did, and I'm sure you can have this in Hawaii too, I would think, is they gave her a CRM spreadsheet of every single owner in the Paseos, all the way down to, it's a platform called Live Farm that they use. And so it's all the way down to data mining their cell phone numbers, email addresses on file, names of people in the household. And then what we do with that CRM is that she started a Facebook page for the Paseos, which is going to be like a community neighborhood page. And we do target marketing and paid Facebook ads by dropping that CRM in the back end of that ad and target market just those people. So if, John Smith that lives in 123 Anywhere Street in the Paseos is cruising around on Facebook, her ad is going to show up on the side of his banner box. And now he might click on her page for the Paseos and start interacting with her there. So I know that was a whole lot of information, But if that is what I'm asking is if that's something that sounds interesting to you, and then we could build your focus area the same way.
Yeah, I think that a great place to start is where I live, the area, the neighborhood and the area that I live. These have very high price points, and I mean, you know, it's not hard. 9 transactions in a year at this price point is ideal. So I would love to focus here on this
Okay.
little area. Absolutely. Does that answer your question?
Yep. So what's the name of the area? Does it have a name?
So no, not exactly, but it's the west side of the North Shore, call it that.
Okay, so that's what we'll refer to it. So you're going to become the queen of the west side of the North Shore, right? You are going to lead generate. So number one, I would say lead generation. And then I would just put the name of the neighborhood, west side of the North Shore. Okay, so that's focus area number one. So now we're going to come down to the 4 or 5 things that you're going to do over and over and over again to be able to lead generate in the west side of the North Shore. Okay, so what you can do is plentiful. It has to be something that resonates with you, and it has to be something that you are going to actually do, or this plan isn't going to work. So you could create a community Facebook page for them, something that you could possibly do and post on, like the one that we do for the paseos. We're ripping off information and content all the time. If anything's going on in downtown Summerlin, we copy and paste it, post it on her paseos page. We've now let the whole entire neighborhood come out for Christmas lights in downtown Summerlin and yada, 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 right? Another thing that we do on that Facebook page is, she hasn't actually been great at it yet, but we're going to get better. It's a brand new concept. She's going to start working with local business owners in that neighborhood. She's going to go in and she's going to talk to them, and she's going to say, you know, I'm an expert in your neighborhood and I want to let people know about your ice cream shop. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. If that ice cream shop has 5,000 followers on Instagram, and they just let you post a picture of their beautiful ice cream cone and tag them, and then they repost you, you just became available to 5,000 people that you wouldn't have normally had access to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So neighborhood business interaction. So let's say that was something you wanted to wrap your head around, Lacey. You were like, you know what, that sounds fascinating. And then not only that, it gets me out of the house. I really get to talk to people, understand, you know, and maybe that business owner would use you. You're building relationship, right? So you're like, I really think I like this business owner relationship thing. So I'm going to go out once a week, talk to a new business owner and promote their business on my page or in some format on social media. And you can literally data mine business owners by their followers and target the businesses with the most amount of followers first, right? Like I used to, my old company that I used to own, First Real Estate Companies, we were on the gateway to downtown. So let me tell you, I mean, I was so downtown, I was everything downtown, and like the donut bar, 12,000 Instagram followers. I sat with the chef, I interviewed him. I got crazy business off of that thing. It was crazy, but you know, he reposted me and now all of a sudden I'm having real estate conversations with people, right? So I wouldn't underestimate it. However, it's something that you have to be dedicated to, right? You got to own this. So are you going to go once a week or twice a week, find a new business owner, snap a picture and post them? Is that something you can get behind?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something that you know, once you start to get good at it, you're going to unconsciously be like, hey, I'm in this neighborhood tomorrow, like dropping off my dry cleaning. I'm going to go talk to so-and-so because I'm out. Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. So you're going to determine, so you're going to be super specific, right? So using the SMART system, give us an idea of what number one sounds like.
So I am going to have a specific goal of visiting local business owners. I'm going to rank them by their followers on social. And so I'll visit them once a week. And so that means I'll have at least one post from that. I probably create multiple posts from just that one visit.
Yeah.
at least one main post, which I will also ask them for sharing, tagging me as well and reposting on theirs. I'll make that ask. And so that's my time frame. I'll do it once a week. I'll post within that week. And then I'll have made a bunch of relationships and have some really fun videos. I've actually, so it's funny, like you said, like mine works in pictures. I've been thinking for another client, because they're kind of a local celebrity, I was like, man, would not be hard for that local celebrity to just walk around town and be like, here's my favorite hamburger shop that I grew up with in Hawaii. And like, how many people would watch that and be interested in that? And I can't even get them to, anyway, that's a whole other story. I was like, oh, I've been working in pictures, right? I've been thinking, like, I've been imagining myself going to these places and capturing a little bit of film with a business owner. So I will just do it.
I love it. Awesome. So we have one focus area and we have one thing. Let's get two more things that you could do and that I think that everybody will kind of be getting on. Are there any other agents out there that have any ideas for Lacey? So you end up in a new place, you're a real estate agent, and you're trying to generate business in a specific farm. What else can Lacey do? Let's hear from some of you guys. Give her some of your best ideas.
Well, I guess one of my thoughts is kind of one of the things that we do with a lot of our new people is that we say, go hold an open house. Find somebody that will let you sit their house open, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then blitz it with signs. As many signs as you can get.
Any signs as you can, absolutely. So Lacey, if holding an open house was something that you were dedicated to, and the great thing is I love the whole open house thing is because it immediately brings your brand to the table in the neighborhood. Doesn't matter whose listing it is, they're going to see your open house signs, right? So then you just want to dedicate yourself to how many times you're going to do that per month and be reasonable and risky about it at the same time. It has to be attainable. So I don't know at any given time how many houses are actually on the market in that neighborhood.
It's not a ton, but I mean, there's a few. And there's also, interestingly, not a lot of open houses. I see one every 3 months, maybe.
Wow.
There's not a lot. So not to say that there's not a lot of listings, but as far as open houses, no, people are really not owning that or doing that much. So I would say I can easily make a goal of doing one open house a weekend, easily.
I love it. That's fantastic.
I like that a lot.
And then my suggestion is that maybe, and this could even be number 3, because it takes time, it takes dedication, and it's a lot of your effort. However, to piggyback the open house and to make it more successful, maybe one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to be committed to either walk the neighborhood the day before the open house, get out there and talk to people who are outside or, people that you run into, or you're getting them some type of information about the open house, and use your social to do that as well, especially if you're going to use a CRM program to target those people. But I know that, putting your face in the neighborhood makes a big difference and goes a really long way. Because remember, at the end of the day, guys, what we do is still very much relationship, right? I was out yesterday trying to show a house. House just came on the market. I'm standing in a backyard of another house, and our clients are smart rats now. They have access to pretty much everything we have access to. And it's funny when he's standing there and he's like, "Hey, you just sent me a house." I'm like, "I did? That's great. What did I send you?" He goes, "This one, it's amazing." And I was like, "That's great. Well, let's go look at it." So I called the number in the MLS, and I ended up going to Homey's lender. It was a lender for the real estate company, Homey's. I don't know if you guys have heard of Homey's. It's a tech company. So I press all the numbers. It's like frustrating. So I finally get somebody to answer the phone, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Like I'm a lender. I'm not even in Las Vegas." And I was like, "Well, I need to find Ivan. Ivan is the listing agent for this property." He's like, "I don't know. I don't know why they gave you my number." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I've got to go in the MLS. I've got to find Ivan. I've got to get his cell phone number, but it's not a cell phone number. It goes to Homie's direct line, but that's okay because now at least I'm in the real estate division of Homie and not the lending division. Okay. My client looked at me, watched me go through this for 10 minutes to try and get an appointment to show this house. And he's like, I would never hire Homies. He's like, oh my God, it's like calling and getting the automated message system that you could never get through. He's like, how does anybody ever buy a house with Homies? So at the end of the day, don't forget that what we do is super relational still, right? We need technology to do it better and quicker and faster. Technology enhances what we do. But at the end of the day, technology is not a problem solver. Technology doesn't create relationship. You do. And that's the reason why you will always still be important and relevant in the transaction. So Lacey, that was a very long explanation of, number 3, I think would take up its own number for you because it takes so much focus and dedication and time. But, walking that neighborhood before the open house goes a really long way.
So you just walk it with like a flyer of the open house and your business card and let them know it's
like, hey, I'm gonna be in the neighborhood tomorrow, just letting you know. Who's the first people that come out to your open houses, guys?
the neighbors.
Yep. And who do you want to come out to your open houses?
The neighbors.
Absolutely. Don't worry about the neighbors coming out. You know what? They tell everybody that house is for sale. They tell everybody. They're like, oh my God, their best friend wants to buy a house. Like, oh my God, the house down the street's for sale. You got to buy it. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of them are just looky-loos, but you know what? Let them in, give them the tour. They talk to people. Let them advertise that open house for you. So yeah, just get out there and talk. Sometimes, another thing that people do are like little holiday gifts. It can be very, very, very small, but if you want to be really, really known in that neighborhood, you could leave little pumpkins on people's doors with your business card tied to the top with a ribbon for Thanksgiving. You know what? We did a Power 30. She was incredible. What she did in the neighborhood she farmed was she left the dogs presents. She left dog treats and the homeowners went nuts. So she knew who had dogs in the neighborhoods just from working the neighborhood for a while. Or obviously if there's a dog barking in the backyard, right? She would leave dog treats. And the neighbors loved it. They went wild. You know how we are about our animals, right? And then another thing she would do is she would leave small tokens and gifts for the kids. So when you're building those business relationships and you go to that ice cream shop, you might ask the guy, hey, would you be willing to give like a little free ice cream cone or something like that for anybody who sees this video or brings you my business card? And he's going to say yes. Why? He's getting free advertising, right? So if he's going to be willing to donate a free ice cream cone to anybody who brings your business card or sees one of your videos, you could leave little cards for the kids, free cone at the ice cream shop down the street. There's so many ways that you can take one focus area and let it mushroom and grow from it. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Yep.
Okay. So I know that this is going to be homework for you guys, right? This is going to be homework and you're going to have to really, really take some time and dedicate yourself to it. And it might even be worth like another little workshop amongst yourself. I don't know if anybody buddies up in here, but if you've got a buddy and you guys decide, you know what, we really want to do this. We saw value in this. And I want to get focused this year and I want to be laser clear because I want to bring home $175,000. And I know to do that in my structure, I got to close $12 million in sales volume. So I really like this idea. I'm going to give it a try for 2021. I've never done anything like this. Be prepared to put a couple hours worth of work behind this. And maybe there's somebody in the meeting with us right now that you could partner with, whether it was even on Zoom or in person, and really brainstorm with one another. I take my team through this, and then it's actually a much bigger process. I take 8 hours of their day in order to go through this process. So we lay a foundation, we go through every single one of these steps. We don't leave the table until everybody has a business plan. I tell them, show up in sweats. I feed them breakfast, I feed them lunch, I hold them hostage. Nobody goes anywhere. We have a blast. And then at the end of the day, the crescendo literally is we build vision boards off of our plans, off of what we said we wanted to do and the life we want to create, right? So remember, at the end of the day, why are we doing all this? We're not doing all this because we want a free ice cream cone. We're doing all of this because, you know, my son's getting married soon and I'm going to have grandbabies and I want to be around. I want to be able to spoil those grandbabies. I want to be able to take them on vacations and spend time with them. You know, I want to make sure that they have everything that they need. My niece has challenged me. She was 3 years old and I told her that if she graduated valedictorian, I was taking her to Paris for her graduation. Can I tell you, she still remembers that. I got a trip to Paris to go on with my niece. She's like taken me on. So I still have a lot of things to do and a lot of things to accomplish. And these are my whys, you know? So that's the reason why I capture my team for 8 hours at the end of the year. We do this. And then you end with a vision board and you literally get to look at what you said you're going to create every single day on your vision board. And it's really powerful because we've talked about it. Your mind will give you exactly what you see. Be careful what you tell yourself. Be careful what you put in it, you know? So does anybody have any questions? We are at exactly 11:59. I appreciate you guys for hanging in there. Does anyone have any questions or any feedback or need any more support? Is there anything where this was awful and it sucked and I need help right here because I'm willing to jump on after?
No, this was great. This did not suck at all.
Yay!
Gosh, that's a great compliment there, Dave. It doesn't suck.
No, right?
It doesn't. It didn't suck at all. It was painless even.
Yeah, you know, and I think at the end of the day, if you can go through this process and you could be like, I only got to close 24 transactions, that's 2 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you take something that looks like it might be really daunting and then you just cut it down to bite-sized pieces. That's what we're ending on right here with your 5 objectives and your 3 focus areas. You're just cutting it down to bite-sized pieces. Stay focused, and I promise you, you'll get there. I'm available for all of you. If you guys know how to get a hold of me, where to find me.
So Pam, you're saying that if we get stuck as we're working through this and we need some brainstorming ideas, we can take a few minutes with you. You don't mind?
Please do.
Yeah, that is so nice.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Hi, little sweet dog. What's her name?
Molly. She's
Hi,
pregnant.
Molly. She's pregnant?
Yeah, she's gonna have doodles.
Yeah.
Deb, I need one.
Frankie already has a doodle. No more doodles.
Okay.
All right, guys. I hope to see you guys tonight. Oh, look at this is the one I see on Instagram all the time, Ursula. I love him. So fluffy. He's always on your laptop. It's funny. Always working with Ursula. Well, sleeping on the job, pretty much.
Mr. Butters.
Mr. Butters.
Butters.
Yeah, he's always sleeping on the job. We know who really does all the work in that household, Ursula. It's you.
Well, Pam and Frankie, thanks for taking the time to do this. This was really good and appreciate you
Good.
guys.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then one plug, I want to remind you guys, we are still doing the teddy bear drive. So if you can have some teddy bears to bring tonight to the Christmas party, it's so appreciated. If not, we're collecting all the way to 23rd. I've talked to Summerlin Hospital and they are in dire need. They love them. I mean, I can't explain to you. I'll just tell you super quick. I've been collecting teddy bears for my husband because he's a retired police officer and I know what he does with them on the department. He'd keep them in the trunk of the car and anytime that he would encounter a child in crisis, he'd pull out a teddy bear for them. And it was just a very small thing, but it's so comforting when a child's in crisis. And my 1-year-old niece, Bella, when she was a year, she had a grand mal seizure. And so she was transported by ambulance to Summerlin. I got to the hospital before she did. So I'm sitting in the emergency lane and the ambulance pulls up. They open up the back doors and she sits up off of the gurney and she's holding a teddy bear. And I was like, I know why I'm doing this, you know? So it's a very small gesture. You can find them for less than $10 right now at Walmart and CVS's and stuff like that. So if you can find any, bring them tonight or we're collecting them to the 23rd. Summerlin Hospital is in dire need. The fire chief said he would like 100. And I put out a message to Sheriff Lamb, throwback to Sheriff Lombardo, and make sure we get some out to the officers as well. So hope we'll see you all tonight.
Pam, do you mind bringing some of those bears that you that you went out and purchased so that some of us who might not have time to go out and buy bears so that we can adopt them?
Oh my gosh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
will you bring some? Okay. And we can just give you money?
Uh-huh, absolutely.
Okay, there we
Adopt
go.
a bear.
Perfect. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye, guys.
Wonderful job.
Thank you.
Pam,
Uh,
this
Thanks for your time. Have a great
Go
day.
Crush 2021.
thank you so much. This is great.